We belong to the
blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Hello and good morning and welcome to According to Courtney. If you've never been here before, I'm Courtney West. I'm a full spectrum doula, birth nerd, and anything that's kind of cool in between. And this is According to Courtney, where we sip our tea and gain some knowledge. And today I'm super happy to have Miss Tracy Persons back in the building. Hey, Miss Tracy.
Hey, it's beautiful to be here with you.
I love that. I love that. If people are first time tuning in with us, can you give them a little caption, a little snippet of who you are and what you're about?
First, I have to say, like, your intro pictures are fire.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I had to start with, I was just mesmerized, like, oh my God.
I love it. I have good people who do good work.
You do. Ultimate beauty. So wow. I have the regular titles, and then I have like what I would say about myself. I am a full spectrum doula as well. Sometimes fertility to fourth trimester is where I work. My sweet spot is actually the postpartum work. And getting women prepared or birthing people prepared. I'm also an herbalist. And so as a culinary folk herbalist, I get a chance to kind of meld the two things that I do together. And then lastly, I'm an educator. So there are a few things that I educate people about, but in this guise, just a lot of things that they can expect before, during, and after pregnancy.
I love that. And you said something that was really important to me because I love that you talk about postpartum. Because people think when they're doing doula stuff, they think about the birth part. So like, oh, the birth, the oxytocins of the birth and the birth high and everything else. But so many people forget about the importance of the postpartum.
So important. I did say that I'm an educator, and I do prenatal education for families that are preparing for labor and delivery. But I also teach prospective doulas and mentor doulas. And the reason I do that is so that they can figure out what their sweet spot is. I think that there are a lot of misconceptions around doula work. A lot of people think that you must be doing labor and delivery. But there are people who are certified as nutritionists, and they specifically work with pregnant families, and that makes you a doula. And just not the kind that comes into the delivery room. And there are people who are certified as yoga instructors, and they do like water exercises for pregnant families, just, different kinds of things. And if you decide that's your doula work. And then some people are mental health, and they love to deal with the parents, getting them prepared and thinking things through. Or sometimes you have a little pregnancy blues or postpartum blues, and so that makes you a doula. So I say all that to say that there are a lot of different ways to be a doula that people don't think about. And postpartum, where we're focusing today, is a really special time that a lot of people don't think that they can go deep on and have that be their sweet spot.
Yes, absolutely. Because people don't even understand what that all is, because we don't talk about it much.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about the first, second, and third trimester of the birthing experience,
Yeah.
but nobody really talks about that fourth trimester and how the fourth trimester really are the building blocks on how you do outside of pregnancy and onward. So you hear about, we hear about, mortality issues with Black women, but we don't hear about the morbidity issues. And the morbidity comes from the fourth trimester and sometimes postpartum and the birth.
Yeah. I would definitely say so. I don't know. Do you want to get into some of the reasons why I think we don't talk about it first before we even get into what it is? Or do you want me to say what I think it is and then why we don't talk about it?
I think we should give people, because so many people haven't heard of what it's called. What is, in your opinion and your expertise, what is the fourth trimester? And then, let's get into why we don't talk about it.
So the trimester, I love the operant definition. So we can take me back to my professorial days. It's that period post-labor where the pregnant person is thinking about how their body is reclaiming its health, how to make ourselves ready if we are breastfeeding to give the most rich, nourishing nutrition to the baby, to take care of the mental and spiritual aspect of what it now means, even if you've had a child before, each birth being different, checking in with yourself and finding, how am I feeling this time? How am I paying back into my mental and spiritual health bank? How am I integrating, if it's just a new baby in its first time, like how am I receiving this motherhood, or whatever you're calling yourself, because there are people who don't consider themselves mothers. So we're going to respect that too. But how are you receiving this role? And then how am I integrating this new life into this family that I'm helping to create? If it's a baby, that has a sibling already, like what does that even look like? How do I organize and orient myself so that I get a schedule that allows me to, heal, pour into myself?
And what does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like? And who can help me? I think that's the thing that I will talk about in terms of community and support. Who helps me on this journey so that I can enter in a healthy space?
I think that's so important. I love the key points that you put on it. It's like it's a transition. And I explained that to people. I said, this is a transition, because they'll say, what's happening to me?
Yeah.
You're transitioning. Transitioning from what?
Yeah.
Who you were to who you are now. And what does that look like? And what does that process look like? Which brings me to our original conversation. Why don't we talk about that?
So many thoughts about why we don't talk about it. I think that it's kind of couched in Western thought. They're a little bit better about this in Europe than they are here. So it's really tempting to say that it has come from Europe and that it's a European thing. But they respect the holism of the maternity journey a little better. And I would say that we talk family values, but they do family values. So
absolutely.
Get long leave. You have countries like Germany where you can put your child in daycare and kindergarten in the same place where you and your husband work together, the whole family. Like we as a country don't recognize it as being a unit or a whole or a community. I think we are a country. No, I know that we're a country that has thrived on rugged individualism. but that's kind of not how human beings survive.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we are a individualistic and tough it out and, Puritan work ethic, it doesn't leave room for what almost every other culture thinks about when they think about birthing and family. And so you think that you don't need anybody, or you're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, you're somehow broken. But what's
Yes.
really broken to me is the fact that you would think that you don't. You wanted to say something. Go ahead.
That is what I hear from all my clients.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, there's something wrong with me. Why is there something wrong with you? Because you're not supposed to have anyone help you. You're supposed to do it yourself. If not, you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
Which I
They
find
will.
the strangest thing.
It is. It's very anti. Almost every foundational culture on this
Mhm.
earth has a mechanism for how we can support birth.
Yes.
We have edited that out. So that's number one. Number two, stress levels super high because we've turned into a society where really everyone must work.
Yep.
I did get to stay at home for the first two children that I had. I had at that time come off of a very demanding career as a chef.
Mhm.
And I was a chef at like a big, very popular on the scene Manhattan restaurant. And I wasn't prepared to be pregnant again immediately, almost after my first baby. So I ended
Mhm.
up staying home a lot longer than I meant to.
Mhm.
And it caused a disconnect. I didn't know what to do with myself. I had been busy since the age of 18. Like all I loved doing was working. And I really wanted to be a mom. Like there's people who like feel like, oh, I don't know if I really want to do this trip, and then they have whatever experience they had. But I really wanted to be a mom. My mom had always worked. I was a latchkey kid. And having made the deal with my spouse to stay home, I was kind of at my wit's end. So that by the time my oldest was nearly 4, I was ready to pull my hair out. So there's a culture here of like not finding value in motherhood.
Yes.
That's not the important thing you do. The important thing is to go out and be a doctor or a lawyer or, and I'm not talking about balancing or that you shouldn't work. I mean, my mom had a PhD. I've gone all the way up to what they call ABD. That means I didn't like finish my chapters and publish, but I did all my coursework for doctorate.
Mhm.
I have been an instructor at really like hot shit universities. So I understand the pressure. And when I see women who can't stop working or feel like they shouldn't stop working or, now somehow I feel inadequate because I'm not working,
Yes.
I understand why you feel like you don't deserve a 4th trimester.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It has been so ingrained into you that you have to just keep going and going and going and going. And I noticed this so much across the board.
Yeah.
Across the board, but with Black women, and a lot of times who I've worked with who are the head of household.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now you done had this child, and they're like, "All right, well, sit back." Well, I don't know how to sit back. I was
Yeah.
like that. I was able to stay home for a little bit with both of my children, but had to rush back into work because the finances were not financing.
Yeah.
And what does that look like? I was a peds nurse with a baby on a G2 with a baby on my breast because I could bring her to work with me, and was so strung out because it's like I haven't slept all night now. I'm doing 412s and I've got 2 babies, and I thought this is what you're supposed to do until I talked to my grandmother, and I boohoo crying because I was so ashamed. I said, I don't know how you did this with, you have what, 4 kids, 3 kids? How did you do this? And you're by yourself. I must be a failure because I can't. I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy. She bust out laughing and start crying at the same time. She said, ain't nothing wrong with you. I want to lose my mom. My mom lived right next door to me and refused to help me. She would not help me. And you turn into a shell of your person. and saying that's your mom's shell. I said, that's awful. She's like, it is. I was like, I don't want that. She's like, you don't have to do that. We're here for you. But that's what we know. That was like your rite of passage of being a mom, was that you don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
You're now just to be with this baby that's connected to your breast, and you still have to be the money maker and do all the things, but there was no concept of someone's going to take care of me.
And that you should be taken care of, because isn't it just all be the baby right now? So I want to talk about the spiritual aspect and the emotional aspect, and I want to put a pin in it and just first shout out my mom who transitioned 4 years ago now, and her birthday was the 8th. So big up. She was my support system, and it was just the two of us because her people were down here. And we were up in New York together. I don't know how she did this, except for my dad. She and my dad were gang. But she didn't have anybody in New York. All of her support system, her mom, who had 12 kids, was down here. So I want to just shout her out with a saying that she said to me that was so profound that I tell my mom this when I'm working with clients. She said, a bright woman can do whatever she wants, one thing at a time.
Facts. Please say that again for the ones in the back, because I'll be the one in the back. Say it again.
Her picture's over there. That's why I'm like,
that is beautiful.
A bright woman, or I think she said brilliant, but I might be paraphrasing. Sorry, Mom, for the license. But a bright woman can do whatever she wants, one thing at a time.
Facts.
And we live in the era of the ADD person, and so we don't always like to hear that. We think I need to be making it here. Social media makes you lie to yourself and others by making you think you have to show everybody how awesome you are. Really, the people who are watching and subscribing don't really care about you. They don't know you. So it doesn't matter what they think. You should only be looking good to yourself. And on that note, I'm going to talk a little bit about the emotional part, and then I'm going to move on to the spiritual part, if you'll let me.
Go for it.
The emotional reason that I think that women don't talk about what goes on postpartum is shame. There's a lot of depression around. We eat foods that we can't even tell what's in them, even when we're trying to eat healthy, because they're geoengineered, and it messes with our hormones. So more women than ever are experiencing postpartum depression just off of that alone. And then you can add on to that the feeling of isolation, because we just talked about like what it's like to have no one around you, maybe just your friends. And sometimes friends are family, and I do get that. But if your friends are all your age and maybe you're the first one to have a baby in that friend group, that
they don't know what to do.
That might be a problem.
Yeah.
And then the final thing is, again, from my mother's generation, she started, I was born in 1964. So she started doing what she wanted to do for a career. And she already came to New York with her bachelor's from Clark. But she started to like do what she wanted to do in the 70s. So by like 75, she's back getting a master's, right? And in between that, she had babies. And just like this whole thing of, okay, so I'm the first in the generations to really be able to strive for it, right? And then everybody after that, we've been striving for it, right? We be working.
Right.
But what happens when your worth is not worthing during that time because you are out of the public eye? You're ensconced in this care thing with this child. So that can really create some cognitive dissonance. I literally wanted to go back to the kitchens after I had my first child real quick. And I had been out for maybe about 1.5 years. And they basically kind of told me, like, what you been doing since then? I'm like, well, I had a baby. It's like, if you weren't yanking and banking,
you got nothing.
What you got?
You got nothing. And there's no there's no space for it. And I feel like that's so disruptive and disrespectful. And I feel like as America as a whole, for birthing people, there is no place for that. Like you had mentioned earlier in Germany, you get a year off and it's paid, both you and your spouse.
Yeah.
So you being away, it's like, oh, I had a baby. Oh, congratulations. Welcome to have you back. We don't have, that is not a thing here. Well, why weren't you working? Well, you didn't have a babysitter for your kid. It's like,
you got to pay for that. And sometimes paying for the babysitter is taking all your money that you making by going back to work. So you literally went back to work to pay the babysitter. Like you trying to advance, but you can't, because you just gave that back to the babysitter. Like that's kind of what happened, you know? And so when I listed all those things to talk about why people go into depression, and when they go into depression, especially women of color, we kind of deal with emotional and mental challenges a little differently. We're kind of coming out of the don't tell nobody your business phase. We also don't like to give a nod to mental illness. Somebody has to be completely broke down and disorganized for you to actually recognize it and say, that is some illness. Because we'll just say, he all right, she all right.
Right.
They're just a little off right now, but they are. He's not an alcoholic. He just drank.
She's going through a phase right now. She'll be all right.
Yeah, she'll be all right. But what if they won't? You know. And so I think that shame, all of those things breed shame, which I think as people of color, definitely we have to heal that. Like guilt and shame should not be first and foremost when you are literally just trying to live. I mean, if you actually contrive to do something, well, then there's the guilt, right? But if you're really trying to figure it out and it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, or things just happen to you, like that's no place for shame or guilt. And you know, working through that is important. And then finally, spiritually, because, you know, we're both spiritual people and we understand that that's, to me, the spiritual component is part of everything I do. Like some people are like, here's my spiritual life and then here's my work life. Well, no, I was a teacher. My spirituality walked into that classroom every day. I had high school kids that didn't want to live. Sometimes they're in poverty, they're just trying to make it out. Like you have to have yourself grounded so that you can put your arms around them and say, hey, I'm here so you can make it. Right. And the medicine is in you. Like I'm just here. And I think that's that same thing that you and I will both say we do with our clients. Like the well of energy and strength is in you. I'm gonna just hold you like this.
Yep. I'm just a vessel. I'm just a vessel to show it to you that you can do this, and what you're really looking at. And I think because of the spiritual component, so many people don't want to attach that to the birthing experience. That it's like, you know, birth is the closest, when you're giving birth, it's the closest that you're gonna get between life and death. The veil is that thin.
My mother used to say that all the time. She told me when I was gonna go into labor, she said, girl, it's the closest you ever gonna be to death. I was like, oh, you gonna tell me that now?
Right, but it's so, that's what my grandma told me. I was like, hey, you're not supposed to tell somebody that before I'm about to give birth, but you need to understand what you're about to walk into. This is a sacred time of your life that you're going to be able to literally kiss death if you don't do this right. I'm like,
that's why Black people be saying things like, I brought you in this way, I'll snatch you out. Like you went through, you're like, I went through all that for you to do this. Like, I don't think so.
I think we take it more personal like that, and also because of the stigma that has been put on Black people, especially in this country, in this community, is that Black women were supposed to give birth and then go back in the fields and work, which is so problematic of a thought process.
Aggressive and abusive. We're going to call it what it is. That's some real-time abuse for you not to allow a woman to, and we will say this, and I say this as an Afro-Indigenous person, because I believe that everybody's story don't start with the slave ship.
No.
You know,
not at all.
And even if the slave is part of your story, that's not the only part of your story. So like, that's not where we need to stay. But we do know in some instances that Black bodies were abused sexually. There was rape. And there were masters who would not allow for that healing up period of the uterus and the vagina before they were back at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what midwives, and we didn't call ourselves doulas back then, but maybe I don't know what we called ourselves back before we adopted the Greek. Doula is a Greek word. We just use it because people understand it.
Correct. We've always had, we were always here, we were always doing this, but we were usually the relative to the midwife, or we were training under the midwife, so the work was still there. That was your grandma who's the midwife, and we were the grandchildren who went to go do the things. But
Or
I feel it's interesting, yes, that even though we're doing this work and we're coming from that, given we all have not come from enslavement, but that mindset ability, how are you having someone go back to work in less than 6 weeks and their womb isn't healed? They expect you back in 2 to 3 weeks. You just birthed the baby, all your organs have been displaced, and you are bleeding to the point that you can hemorrhage from moving too quickly. But people don't know that.
I can even imagine a scenario where you didn't even get like, you might have got 7 days. You out in the field in a rag to stop the lochia, like whatever. You know, they wanted their money's worth, and the body was the money. The body still, we are the currency. Just hopefully not in the same way. I think that's what being enlightened does for you. It helps you to recognize what the overarching structure is and how you want to move within that. But I did reference the spiritual, and I think that can work hand in hand with the physical. We can talk about some ways in a minute, but I just want to talk about that last thing that we discussed, which is just how do you make your household work? You know, like scheduling, and who's coming to help me, and what are the things that I need to have to get myself back in shape? Who's coming to feed my partner? Is my partner feeding me? Who's helping with the other children? Who's washing clothes? Who's making sure I wash? How many of your clients for like weeks on end just don't be like having time to bathe or get yourself? And it was so funny. My mom came to my house one day. I think by then the baby was like about 3 months old. And she was like, you have to get up and shower and make yourself look presentable before your husband comes in. And I was like, for him? She said, no, for yourself. She said, when you let yourself go, that's a pride thing. So sometimes we have to have somebody in our life that will not only tell you that, but help you do that, set schedules for you, come and cook meals for you. So, I mean, sometimes you're lucky enough to have partners that can do that, but what if you were the one who did all the cooking and now you're sidelined a bit because you need to rest and recharge and recoup? And that other person was the person who is out in them streets working.
Right. And what does that look like? They can't.
Who's helping? You know?
Right. And what does that help look like? Because people don't know what help looks like. Because we've gotten away from it. You know, a lot of clients, I'll ask them, it's like, oh, is your mother coming in town? Or do you have family? It's like, oh, well, we're not close. Okay. I understand you're not close, but
would they not do this?
Right. I said, but in this moment, you just had a baby. You are, and I have to break it down to them. I say, you are bleeding from your vagina. Do you understand that? You have tore all major organs and muscles in your body right now. And all you need to do is sleep and rest. And you have to take in hot, nourishing things to take care of yourself. And that's such a concept. It's like, well, I can't have my mom see me like this. I care that all the time because she will. Because, well, words, how people perceive words means a lot. Because what you just said, I've had same clients' parents tell them that and they freak out. They're like, well, see, they don't see what I'm going through. And they're just judging me. I was like, no, you have to understand the language of that era. She's not saying that you're doing this for your husband. You're doing it for you. But it's like, you got to learn what the new you is. Let me help you, usher you into that. You may not like the wording of it, but that's what she's really saying to you, and having to teach people that, or mothers. I get a lot of time don't know how to change their roles from mother to grandmother. And so they back all the way up, or they start clashing, like their daughter or their birthing person is their teenage child versus now transitioning into that mother stage, because it taps into their own fears of not being helped. So you have to sometimes look at them like, okay. All right, we got to do a lot of healing so that your fourth trimester can work and you can allow someone to help you. And then the person helping you, you might need some help too. Cause I'd be like, okay, listen, you can't bring all of that in here. You see it a lot because they're like, well, no one helped me. Why should I help her? And I asked them that. I said, so you want your child to be hurt and harmed and not taken care of? And they're like, no, but that's what you just said.
Yeah.
Mental pause in a rhythm without applause. I applaud greater gods, ones that created us in the dark. So now we blacker than, blessed with this blacker skin. And trust me, we living so all this black can win. Pushing again, so you know we tapping in. Don't speak if you don't know what's happening. Then we got up on the mic and rapped again. Messiah, whoever, you know we back again. No more practicing. We've been beating the game like Michael Jackson and got 5 on it like Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Jackie. Then I ain't even wanna look back, I'm just rambling. Mind be traveling so many places, can't keep track of mental races. I just scramble through these spaces. Quarterback maneuver, gridiron pen, eke never think give you something smoother. All these lessons I learned, I could be a tutor. I am legend in front of the shooter, and I can hear the world screaming. Hands in the air, hands in the air, and I can hear the world screaming. Hands in the air, hands in the air, and I can hear the world screaming. Hands in the air, hands in the air, and I can hear the world screaming. Hands in the air, hands in the air, and I can hear the world screaming. And I can hear the world screaming.
It's very, very interesting. I think some things to think about if we're going to just dive for a second into Blackness. And before I say that, I did not by any means, if anybody takes it this way, what my mother said about my relationship with my partner had nothing to do with the fact that he was a man. And I know that there are people who are married to women together. Sometimes the other partner don't be nurturing. It doesn't have anything to do with your gender. That has everything to do with who we are. Or they may be a nurturer, but they're the ones who are, they have to go out and make that money. So I'm not making a distinction between gender necessarily, although my mother was, because I was married to a man at that time. I say was because that's my husband, but he ain't in the picture now. But for her, and this is tied into Black mothering.
Yes.
Black mothering is very fierce and intense. And when I look at certain cultures, like in Ghana, and I think I heard in Nigeria, definitely in Ghana, you're not raising your first kid. That's your mother's job.
Yes.
Because in Ghanaian culture, they don't believe if this is your first child, no matter what books you read, what books. This is how we do it. And you've never done it before. And I have. Mm-hmm. So it could take a little bit of like teasing through and healing and working it out, because we all have to draw our boundaries. So I think, just allowing that, some of us are coming from that tradition where it's not assumed that you know everything. And that person who does know is going to take it over. And I'm going to say, my Southern mama, she, I'm laughing because I can still see her doing this. I'm, nursing my son, and she, he's crying, and she didn't think he was getting enough milk, and she reached out and grabbed my tip. And I was like, oh, boundaries.
Shoot, I ain't had no boundaries. What you mean? I was feeding the baby. My grandma did that to me because she's like, she's like, her swallow ain't right. Hold on, and grab by both sides. So it pushed. I felt all the nerve endings in my breast go out my mouth. I was like, ooh, the baby ate. The baby ate too.
And on the darker side of that, and I definitely don't think she meant it in a way that I think it does take some healing. She once said to me, Black women don't have time for nervous breakdowns. And there's a strength in that, yeah. But there's also some detriment in it. And it's not about her, it's about who we've been formed to be as women in this country.
Yes.
Yes. As women of Afro-Indigenous, I'm allowing for both because some people don't believe it or don't feel they have indigenous bloodlines. I know I do.
You a Florida kid, you a Gullah Geechee. You dark skinned Florida, you from the Panhandle, St. Pete, Tampa, Gainesville, Jacksonville. You're probably a Gullah Geechee kid.
I'm definitely a Gullah Geechee kid on both sides. Father's mother, Creek ancestry as well. This side, Seminole, and I don't know what nation my grandfather's mother came from, but my mother talked about like the strong look that she had and how her hair was like heavy. Both sides, like that heavy, shiny, almost blue-black hair. So, and I know that they kicked us off a lot of Dawes Roads because, people always going to come with, say, is your name on the registry? Is your name on the roll? Come on. They categorized a whole bunch of people on purpose. That way you can have claim to this land. They always want to tell you to go back to Africa. And I'll be like, sure, after you go back to Ireland. If you get in your boat and go to Germany, then that's what'll happen.
Right. Or I believe you can go ahead and go, guess what? I'm from here. Born and raised from the dirt clay. I came from here. I respect my ancestors who came from other places, but also my ancestors came from here. So I have more claim to this than anybody else. But I think our traditions move in that way. Like my first daughter, my godparents are Nigerian. So I was open with, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, help me. And I thought it was normal. If someone comes into your house and cooks for you, you weren't allowed to be left alone. My little sister had to come stay with me. There was none of this by yourself. My partner was working, but he was gone. And so it was the women's job to nurture. And when I moved from up there down here to the South, I had to move in with my mom and my grandma. Are you kidding me? There was no option of that because you had to learn how to be a parent. And you needed your people to do it. And I'm very thankful. I couldn't have done this without my grandma. I ain't know, man, look, I come to her crying. Didn't know what was wrong. Take this baby. She's like, stop crying. Just go to sleep. That's what's wrong with you. Stop crying. Stop crying. All that crying and stuff. Come here, give me that baby. You should give me a kiss. Go sleep. Just go to sleep. I'll wake you up to nurse it. Just stop.
That's what my mom said that too. She would show up with vats of macaroni and cheese. Just vats. And she lived real close to me. My kids should look like macaroni and cheese.
I love it.
It should just be in a casserole dish. But she lived close and she had taken off time to be with me. And then with the first one, it was through the summer. So, being a professor, she would be off in the summertime. Yeah. So just even when he was coming, like when I was in labor, at that point in time, we had been walking around downtown Brooklyn, and a friend of ours family friend from South Carolina said, yeah, you had that baby yet, girl? He said, you better go get some okra. And that was the first time that I had heard that. I never knew I was going to be doing birth work back then. My son is 32. So I had no idea that I'd be doing this. And she was right. He started coming the next day. And my mom and I were around, and she came to my Obgyn appointment with me. And she pretty much doulaed my first baby. And I would say that my husband was actually very supportive after. I mean, he's Irish and from a big family. And so he did eventually have to go to work. But, you know, his family was very much involved in, you know, being helpful.
See, that's beautiful. Both of them, it was my family for my first one, my godparents when I was in Tallahassee, and then my parents when I came down. I was, 19, 20. And then with my second child, my husband, he was very good. Yeah, them husbands is real. He was good during the birth, but he was horrible at postpartum. He didn't know how to do anything. And then my family was more hands off because they're like, well, you're married and this is his job to do, I guess, because they didn't know what to do. When you have a bunch of single mothers and things like that, there was no one else. So it was always us, and they try to respect that. And I had to tell them, hey, I'm drowning over here. I am not okay. I think there's something wrong with me, because it is that adjustment of having now 2 children and no sleep, and you used to doing it all and can't, or you're trying to and you're going crazy.
Yeah. And as women are having later babies, my last one with my current husband, I didn't expect her because I thought I was kind of close to menopause. So I'm thinking, no, I can't get pregnant. That won't happen.
Surprise!
Surprise! So I always call her my menopausal surprise. I had her at 40. Yeah, I had her at 42. But my postpartum, and I definitely know that I had postpartum depression with her. And it was very much about identity. I had been yanking and banking successfully for a couple of years. Like, I was on the mission. I didn't think that I would have any more. My first 2 at that point in time were 12 and 13. So really kind of see light at the end of the tunnel, and I had 2 boys back to back, and I didn't think I was ready, but I loved him, and I thought, how am I supposed to feel about this? And my mother said, well, this will cement you if you choose it. She always had the wise words. And so I did it, but I ended up having an emergency C-section. It felt like such a violation of my body. Such a violation. And just the fact that the nerves that they cut, and the muscles that they cut in the groin area, like you can't really get up and move around for a long time. You have to nurse, and that's kind of painful. So that I know from the inside out, if there are any who have gone through that and like feeling very challenged. I don't just know that from the perspective of like trying to be a doula and studying, but what the real pain of that is. And I couldn't clean my house. Yeah. It just was very, it felt very invasive. And I really questioned, like, so who am I now if I'm back in this mother place? I had to take off from work. My kids, the students that I was teaching would come and bang on my window and be like, when are you coming back? Can we come in? And I'd let them in and talk to them for a little bit and be like, now you have to go. And I feel like that was spirit sending them to me so that I could understand that it wasn't over. Like there's everything in its place, divine timing.
Yes.
So you're doing this now and you're healing, and you need to have time to heal. But then, when you're done, you can go back. And I did go back a year later. They were close to graduation. And it was different. And you smiling like, oh, everything's great. It kind of wasn't, because I didn't feel right.
I'm smiling because it wasn't good. Oh, I already know, because I did the things. It ain't good. You're not the same person. Your mental capacity is shot to shit. Yeah, I had
And
postpartum with
things
my
did.
last one, so I
I didn't
get it.
fit. Yeah, you don't fit anymore. Not
Nope.
in the way that you did before. It wasn't easy. The kids who were coming and banging on my window had gotten so much older, they didn't need me. I came back and was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's back. But we don't need you though. We're off with our boyfriends doing fast things.
Yes, I've grown up now.
Yes, you were babies when I left. It was ninth grade. What? And now you're like a junior about to.
Yup.
So that was very different, and it really called for a lot of introspection and shadow work. So I say that because there are a lot of different things that doulas can offer postpartum clients around reorienting how you think and feel about yourself.
Yes.
There are so many different ways for us to retrain ourselves, because as I said, some people are like, yeah, I do postpartum, but that means that you show up, maybe you clean, you stay overnight, you watch the children, you cook meals, you may show them how to care for themselves physically, but being in that space to be like, so talk to me about what's going on inside of you, and then having enough lack of ego to say, oh, this may not be something I can help them through. Yes. I need to have at your disposal referrals, and we have the lovely Mel, and I would send somebody to her in a heartbeat to work with a maternal mental health professional.
Absolutely. And I feel like to be a good doula, especially a full spectrum doula, you don't have all the answers. You're not supposed to. We already wear a lot of hats. It's okay not to have all of them, even with the background. Like, I am a former mental health nurse, and I'll tell them, hey, I'm a little concerned. And I want to break this down to you, and break it down to you in the way of, like, your hormones have changed, your bodies are a little imbalanced, things that I'm seeing, your emotions are imbalanced, so that means it's probably chemical. So we got to eat differently, but I need you to see somebody, and this doesn't mean that it will be this way forever, but right now you need a little bit of a help. And sending them to therapists, sending them to also is so important, because I love that we have a Mel, because not all therapists have a background in maternal health. It is different, because they will get misdiagnosed a lot of times.
Yeah.
With things that are not what it is. It's just like, she just had a baby 3 weeks ago. She has not slept in days. She has no one taking care of her, and she had a fresh C-section.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Lord help her.
She got all that going on, and then she's got 4 other kids at home. How do you expect her to show up as super soccer mom and be okay? She's not okay, and that's okay. She's not okay. But as a doula, we have to sit there and can say that with humility. It's okay that you're not okay, because I haven't been okay too. And that's okay, and it's normal that this sometimes happens. Yeah. Period.
And the thing that sometimes people don't want to admit, the body is a very complex and interesting thing, and hormones are very unpredictable. There have been women that have given birth and don't come back. Like, they never regain, not pass on, but like, I've known at least 2 women who've given birth and their hormones were so off, they just, like, they didn't recognize bipolar disorder before, or schizophrenia before, but it kind of threw them into that next place. So having somebody who can actually check you and look at you and be like, that seems kind of, let's go talk to somebody.
Absolutely. And then there's checklists. There's if you go online and you say depression postpartum checklist, and that I feel like every doula and every birth worker, doula or not, whatever scope of title that you're in, if you're touching pregnant or postpartum people, you should have a checklist, because it shows up in these families, and not just the birthing person, but in the father as well. You need to go and check to see how their emotional, mental, and spiritual health is, so you can say, okay, so what's really going on here? Because it gets dangerous. I can say for myself, I had severe postpartum to the point that I called my gynecologist, she was 6 months old. I said, I want to run away. I've been in the park for the last 5 hours, going around in circles with her in the stroller because she just won't stop screaming. And I just want to leave her here and run away. I said, I've never wanted to leave my first child in my life. What is wrong with me? I said, I don't want to hurt her. I just want to put her in a box and leave. And I just want to drive and not keep going. She's like, oh, you have postpartum. I was like, and I was very blunt with her. I said, Black people don't get that. That's what y'all do. Y'all do that weak people stuff. We don't. That's impossible. I was so traumatized. I said, how dare you say that to me? I'm a Black woman. We don't have we can't afford to do that. And she was so sweet, and she's like, I understand what you're saying, but what you're describing is exactly what I had. I heard her, didn't believe her. Called my grandma, mommy, this white woman, and told me that I got this, but I told her that Black people don't have that, and she got real quiet, and she said I had severe postpartum with every one of my children because I had no one for me, but we didn't have a name for it. And then I believed it.
So true. My husband's mom came with my last daughter and came and stayed with us, and cooked a bit and stuff. So, and my mom told me that her mother-in-law also, because her mom couldn't come until a little later, because you know how many kids my grandmother had.
Yeah, she couldn't. She wasn't leaving no time soon.
She was pregnant with one as I came. My aunt is younger than me, who you've met. So she had little ones at home. She couldn't leave. So my mother-in-law came. Her mother-in-law, came and helped take care of her. And I think that was really, really, they had a nice bond.
That's beautiful. And I feel like, as doulas, sometimes we have to play that role and kind of connect that, because either there is no mother-in-law, or there's not good relationship, or they live out the country, or whichever. We have to hold that gap space for them. But I always encourage, if there's possibility, to have some connection with family. And it's like, who loved you up?
Yeah. And I think for us to be aware of, and I think this is very difficult with healers and community workers, what are our boundaries?
Yes.
What are the things that you will do, and what are the things you won't do? And when is it too close? Because what we don't want is, for our clients to become so overdependent that they don't have their own resilience, right? And can't do the things that they need to do.
Right.
And then on our side, we can give so much that we just, at some point, we crash.
Yes. I see that we lose more doulas in this practice.
Burnout.
Due to burnout, crash out. Because as healers, we have trashy boundaries. I just learned that. We have the worst boundaries, because we want to help and heal. Oh my goodness. And then we don't practice what we preach.
Mm-hmm.
And you've absorbed all of their fears, their concerns, their grief. And then we get crazy from it. And so having the boundary definitely makes a huge difference, especially when you're dealing with the fourth trimester, because that loss feeling can be very real for them, and we do want to run and hold them and do everything for them. But that's why it's so important that we connect in who is in your family, who's in your circle. Build your tribe. I am part of your tribe, but build your tribe so that when I am no longer in the picture, the contract has ended, that I know you can stand on your own. Now, given I've got doula clients from freaking 10 years ago. They ain't going nowhere. They're going to be with me for life.
They don't.
But that they can stand on their own 2 feet, and you don't have to feel like you have to rush to save them.
Yeah. I mean, I had to learn that hard lesson. I told you the kids were knocking on my window talking about, can we come in? And if you've ever had that special situation where you literally live in the community that you teach in.
Yes.
Which is probably what segregation felt like.
Yes.
Teacher lived down the street and tell your mom and tell your daddy, and then teacher could beat you, and then you went off and you got beat again.
Absolutely.
Well, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Rudder, My first grade teacher, Miss Rudder, lived right down the street from me, and she would walk me home. You know,
I love it.
used to walk me home, and then then it got to the point where they would make all these rules, which, I mean, given the world that we're in today, now you get it, because
Yeah.
they're literally teachers that's trying to scheme on your kids, and
Right.
like, you on social media naked, but your kids are with them and could find them on social media.
Right.
But a lot of my kids literally lived in the projects right behind me, up the street. I had kids that they was always around. They would see me in the supermarket. You on a date? You on a date, Miss Person? They got peanut butter in
You're
her.
a bunch of snitches. Don't be telling my business.
They would tell that we saw Miss Person and she was at the movies with her husband, and that's a good thing. And so, I kind of really got into the thing with my husband where I was like, do you know that we are an example even when we're not teaching?
Yes.
It's a good thing for them to see us in the street the way they see us in school and know that we are respectful and respectable. And there are a lot of them who kind of came from single households and whatnot that are married now. And they're like, I always wanted to have what you had. Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay. I see what you did, Lord.
Right. Giving them the eyes to see what it is. And I feel like that's what, with postpartum, that's what doulas are here for, is to give you the eyes to see and the understanding of, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's looking for perfection here. We just want you to be well and to do the best that you can, and that understand that it's a grieving process. Like, I explained this to two of my clients recently. I said, you realize emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you're grieving who you were beforehand, right? Yeah. They're like, what? I'm like, no, especially when it's your first child, you were this person. You could have been alpha, running businesses, doing all these things. And now this is the most vulnerable you've ever been in your entire life.
Yeah.
You have to grieve a little bit of the transition of, you're a different person. Doesn't mean that's a bad different, but it is different, because now it's not all about you. It may not be all about you and your spouse. It's about you being a parent, you being a new you developing this new body that you have, and the hormone changes that have come with it. It's a punch in the gut, but it's okay to cry and to grieve it so that we can then move through it and not hold it.
Definitely. Just thinking to mention that everybody who does postpartum doesn't necessarily do the same things.
Yes.
So there are some people who literally come and stay with you for a certain amount of time. There's some people who sleep over. They do your laundry. They clean your house. That's not me. I don't do those things.
You see that real quick. You're like, no, I don't do that.
I keep it a buck. I don't like to clean. Now, so I'm not going to clean yours. But
really?
Oh God, no. I'm not gonna do that. No. But my postpartum looks different, and I wanted to make a point of saying that so that people can understand some of the things they can get from different postpartum people. Because, there might be somebody pregnant right now who listens to this and they're like, wait a minute, I thought all postpartum doulas clean my house. No, don't. Hey, wait a minute, I thought you were going to come and organize that's not what I do. My specialties are to cook meals for people and families. I do like full tray of like baked casseroles or pots, stew pots. I make sure to put together packets or bundles of things that you will need for your physical needs, like healing herbs and salves. I make those for if you have had a C-section and you want the wound to heal. I also will put together galactagogue teas. Galactagogue is something that makes your milk come in nice and rich and full of vitamins and minerals. I give support for breastfeeding, but I like to leave the heavy work to somebody who's a licensed lactation consultant.
Yes.
I don't do that. I definitely will gauge what they tell me or their report around how they're feeling nutritionally and kind of work with them that way. I have check-ins, wellness check-ins. If there are things that they want to talk to me about or tell me, I stay with them for 1 month and I do that for them as well. And, sometimes I give them activities or I have a lot of references and resources. So, for instance, there's somebody that we both know together. And she was having that kind of angst around like being perfect and wanting to
Mhm.
I don't have anything to do right now. And I'm like, well, a little bit of that is because you need to be healing. But I get it that you are a former athlete and you like to be busy. Can I suggest you like to dance? And she was like, love it. I was like, okay, let me find you some salsa lessons in your area. You
Mhm.
can do bachata, you can do salsa and merengue with your husband, and that'll be a nice way to connect outside of the baby because there needs to be life outside the baby every now and then.
Yes.
But you could be active and you can do something fun and you can feel like you're getting, because very much about like, can I get my body back? And I was like, yeah, valid, but it has to take time. So you want to start it with gentle things, and these are things that I can do for you. Definitely on the resources, like when people need references, and like I find that stuff for you.
Absolutely. I feel like that's what you're supposed to do as a postpartum doula. Is like, we got to have the resources for you
Yeah.
because things are outside of our wheelhouse. So if people are interested in having you as postpartum or getting herbalism bundles for you, how do people reach you?
You can reach me at Southern Alchemy Wellness LLC.com. That's Southern Alchemy Wellness. Did I say LLC.com? England.
You did good. You did good. Good.
You can
I
also
love it.
you can email me at southernalchemywellness@gmail.com. That's southernalchemywellness@gmail.com. And I also have programs for doula mentorship. In another year, I can certify. So I'm really looking forward to that. And my program runs from just why do you want to be a doula and what can this work look like? And it takes you through all the trimesters, including postpartum. And then there's a business aspect. Like, so you want to have a doula business. What are some things you need to think about? And what are some things you need to know? And I help you to construct timelines and talk to you about building your resource community tribe that you want to work with. So if you want to tell somebody, oh, postpartum, you want a pelvic floor realignment, here's the place you can go. Oh, you need chiropractic because your back is messed up now from all the sway. Here's somebody you can contact. What? Mental health? Here's somebody you can contact. So, like the course covers that. It's an 8-week course. And then there's a 10-week course that I teach called the Herbs of Pregnancy. And it goes from...
I'm in that course.
I'm allowed to say that.
I'm in that course.
Do you like it?
I do. I find that it's really interesting and fascinating for people, especially depends on what type of doula you are. So I'm very similar. I said, I do clean people's houses. And I do. I'll do your laundry because I know people hate doing the laundry. I'll do the laundry. The reason why, because it's a great time to really get you and pin you down to find out what's really going on. Anytime you do with somebody clothes and you folding up their intimates, they're going to start crying. They're going to start telling you their business. And so I do it really because then it's like the veil is down. We're being right here. I'm folding your drawers right now. What's really good? And so, but also I cook for them. And I talk about the herbal wellness pieces of that and what should you do, like, because you're supposed to keep your chi hot. So for taping this type of course, it's helpful to see what the things that they are, and other from a Southern perspective as well. It's like, this is what we have growing in our yards. This is stuff that is tangible to getting to it, and also the history and the honor of where it comes from. Helps balance that out for me, the type of doula that I am. that's part of the healing process. And then also I can use this stuff for myself and my own family. So
yeah, we really can. And you don't have to be pregnant to access a lot of this herbal knowledge. Some of us are actually, well, I'm postmenopausal. And even that comes with a certain level of care that this culture does not honor at all. Like, what are you I guess supposed to die after you stop bleeding? Like what? And everything is in the pursuit of youngness. We gotta cut stuff. We gotta wear a hoochie mama skirt at 70. Like, I see old R&B singers on stage. I'm like, why you naked? You got goo gobs of folds and rings.
Let the folds fold, baby. You can let them rest. You can let them hang. You can do what you want to, but you shouldn't have to feel like you can't do that. You can't be an older woman. I know I just turned 38. Oh my gosh, on the 5th.
I remember 38. 40 was slamming, Courtney. I think you're going to enjoy it.
I think so too. But it was that fear of getting older. So like my family, most of the women, unfortunately, all had womb trauma. So everyone had hysterectomy except for one person by the age of 35.
Wow.
So I think my mom was maybe in her early 40s when she had to have a hysterectomy because everyone had womb trauma. And so the idea of what that looks like, I don't know. Everyone was thrown into it. They're like, it's great. You don't miss your uterus. And I'm like, nah, all y'all hormones jacked up. Your emotional state is jacked up because it does something to you. But there was no honor in that. Again, that was one of those topics that weren't talked about. I was like, Mommy, why you hot? Why are you sweating like that? Mind your business. Yeah. I'm just asking because you pouring like a faucet. I just want to make sure you're okay. But
and just like all the changes that come that are good and the changes that maybe don't feel so good because of the culture that we're in and the fact that they don't have reverence for elder wisdom. It's a lot. So you can definitely use those herbs, some of them in that sense. And I do talk about just all the ways that you can use the herbs, but it goes from those who are seeking fertility all the way to postpartum. And that's a 10-week course. So definitely shout me out or come and work with me. I hope Courtney finding a vibe. I'll be feeding people. So
she does. So that's one of the best parts about classes. Like you come to class, you be like, what is this?
Why she got biscuits?
And then if you like full meals, you be like sitting here like, oh, okay. And then she's like, I made pear apple butter today. And I baked bread. I'm like, who does this? And like, here you go, just before class. But I got a frittata in the oven. I'm like,
I got 80 degrees.
Yeah, so class be classy. You be coming up there, be like, okay, so if you're coming to class, don't pre-eat. That's all I tell you. Don't pre-eat nothing, because you're gonna be sitting there and be like, well,
I gotta just stuff this down.
Right, it's rude. That's one of the things, one of them elder things. Hey, an elder offer you a plate, you better eat it. You better ask for seconds. So you better just go ahead, come hungry for knowledge and wisdom and empty stomach so you can enjoy all of it. And it gives you perspective to take back for your clients, even if you're new to birth work. This helps you. I feel like classes like this help you decide where do you fall in it, because there is all different types of postpartum doulas. There's all types of doulas. The things that we may do, I know for a fact in my area, nobody does what I do. Nobody cooks the way that I do. Nobody moves the way that I do. In here, I've had other doulas ask me, well, how do you charge what you do? And I break it down. I was like, do you cook? Do you clean? Do you have a background in mental health? Do you have herbs that you can
a lot of things in your kit
transfer to someone else to do? Do you have access to midwives who can be like, hey, I got a problem. Can you help me? I was like, so it's about putting more things in your arsenal. And I feel like to be a doula, a strong doula, even if you love birth, you have to understand postpartum, because your clients are going to need you and they're going to be looking for you. I love how the ding went right then. See, that was the right note right there. It's like right there.
And I'm going to put it on record. She's not telling you, but I learned from her too. She got buku doula experience. So I kind of came to this a little late in life. I didn't know that the Lord was going to take me where I am. But she's the right person to be put in my life after I came out of the doula program. It's almost like you have to get certified. So you have to go through those programs, but they don't be nothing like what she's taught me and nothing like what I will teach you. There's so much more. They can only, they gonna give you dry long so, right?
Right. And it's just, and I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Like I tell people, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I was born into this. Like my grandmother nursed and helped everyone around her because she was a nurse. So the people knocking at the door and giving herbs and making teas, and I was a sickly kid. So this was my life. This was it. This is how you heal. This is how you nourish. So I love to do this with birth, but that's why I love meeting with other people, because we all learn from each other. I never come into this as like, I've been doing this longer than you. What are you going to teach me? Everything. You can teach me everything.
There's something to learn. I think if you're an eternal student, you end up the wisest person. The people who, to me, don't thrive and don't have wisdom are the people who think that they have nothing to learn from anybody, or they immediately get envious and get in competition. There's enough for everybody. Like, I know America be having people heads all messed up about money, but trust me, the people that need to be with you, they'll be with you.
I full throttle, completely big facts. I don't understand that concept of, well, aren't you in competition with who? Or even I have doulas ask with myself. That's it. They're like, well, why don't you advertise this way or this way? I said, Spirit brings me the right clients that I need, and they pay what I need them to pay. I'm not out here on the hustle of doula stuff right now, because I believe that Spirit brings me who I need, and that if you need me and you want me, you know how to find me. You know how to be. I'm here, and when you're getting me, you know what you're getting. And that's it.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, we're not also going to act like we don't understand what's going on with our country and our economy. Pretty soon, people will not have the money. Yep. So if you're out here trying to be glammed up, talking about you're a doula, and the whole face of your doula enterprise is how poppin' you are and how much money you charge, pretty soon you're not going to have clients because they won't be able to afford you.
That part.
You think about the community and what the community needs. We just got off this project in September, right, Courtney, where we were talking about what the granny midwives used to come and sometimes not get paid with more than a meal. But they understood that some had it and some didn't. Some would give you a whole big, or, they didn't have the currency that we've been faux living off of for the last, I would say, 60 years or so. And so it will come to a time, I think, unfortunately, because there's always this duality, right? The unfortunate part is that we've all been reared in this matrix, and we like our creature comforts, and we're not prepared to live like third world people.
Oof, that's so factual. But I give that to people that say some of the most beautiful things that you can be given from your clients are the things that they've grown from you. Like I literally, for my birthday, I had clients bring me passion fruit, plantains, soursop juice, things that are from their garden, and raw honey. They're like, we love you so much. That's what we wanted to give you. That's the most healing basket of gifts that you can give to someone. And I've had many clients who, I would only charge them, maybe $600 or whichever at the time, which was all they may have had. It's like, or could we do half and trade? I've had to go on and taken bundles of greens before from someone's fresh cut garden.
Real old timey. That's real old timey. Or allowing people to pay in installments.
Yep.
Like, okay, if you give me this here, we can settle up by the time it's time for your due date. That's when we can settle up. I know Courtney has seen this beautiful painting of the wild sister with the big hair.
Yes.
Honey, A white woman commissioned that for me. That was my first client.
I love that.
And she insisted. That's how I became a doula. I actually was nervous first. I never thought that I would be doing this. And she paid the price. And then she'll commission that painting for me. She said, "This is how I see you." I was like,
I love it.
That's how I was. You ain't never lied. When I was younger.
Right. You're like, that was me. But
she has the halter top on that I used to wear back in the day. I'm like, it's like you looked into time. She is from Transylvania, though.
See, she did her research. She knew who you were. Saying, I'm tapping into the old you. I just want to.
You're a gypsy.
I love that. I love that, Tracy. It's always a fun time to have you in space. I look forward to the other conversations and episodes we're going to do going into the end of 2025 into the 2026. Because as you spoke about, there has been, we're about being very transparent on this channel. There's some things that are happening and some shifts that are happening, and people are going to need spaces to be held in a certain kind of way. So we will be doing some classes and we'll be doing some conversations to help kind of guide people on how do we move through these transitions? What does that look like with a little mixture of spiritualism, herbalism, doulaism, all in the isms, and all the isms, and just kind of holding some space for each other, because if nothing else right now, we all need somebody to hold space for us.
Yeah, we need each other at this point. And Black people need to be about community. Integration really kind of ruined it. And a lot of us are not wanting to admit that. But it took out of the community the strivers and only left people who felt like they didn't have a choice. So now it's time for us to be back and be serving.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I will be of service. I will serve.
Yes. And we will be here to serve, but also be the balance of how do we serve ourselves and teaching that portion of it, because a lot of healers right now, you're going to be called on, people will be at your door, knocking at the door, I don't know what to do, and wanting to bring all their trauma to you. And you got to be able to filter that out.
Yeah.
And help who you can help, but you have to help yourself first.
I know we're about to wind down, but I will say that there are people who are right now doing the math. So many Americans remain uninsured. Yep. You can talk about Affordable Care Act all you want to, but it's way more than people have right now. If you are furloughed, you can't make your payments. If you are fired, you can't make your payments. And I want people to stop talking about, well, they should get a job then if they want to feed their family. There's people on SNAP and EBT who got full-time damn jobs.
And part-time ones too. And they still can't do it. It's so hard out here. And people are so cruel and so ugly and so unrealistic, because a lot of these people who are talking the most trash got houses passed down to them, or had monies or businesses passed down to them. You have generational wealth that people have never had or never had that option to. They're doing the best that they can. And we are not here to judge, because here's the deal. Yeah. It may be you one day, because this is
the grace of God go I.
Yes, because right now, 2026, you thought 2025 was a ride. 2026 about to be some big mamma jamma, oh my God. And so we've got to hold each other and be like, you know what? It's okay. You don't have this. Here's some beans. Let me show you how to make some bread. Here, I got an extra loaf. So we all are going to have to go back to the community and needing each other, which brings us back to postpartum. Postpartum is needing community. Yeah. If you're suffering, you're going crazy, you don't know what to do, reach out. Reach out. We're here. Yeah. We get phone calls all the time. And just sometimes you need just someone's ear to be like, I don't know where I need to go, and have the resources to be able to give. Because time, I can give some time.
Yeah. You're making me think. I have to go back to, I used to teach cooking classes for canning, preserving, baking bread. And then I shut down my brick and mortar, right? And I didn't have a place to do it. So I have to figure out how to bring that back. It might be an online thing, but shout out if that's something that you're interested in, because you have to feed yourself and some others.
Oof, the blue hand just catches me every time. But yes, I mean, so many of us need those skills because it wasn't passed down to us, and learning what that looks like and how cost saving it is. You know, baking your own bread is way cheaper than buying it in the store.
So much. And you will not have the preservatives. So I think that that's a really important thing. It does go stale fast and it does mold fast because we're in Florida, but you can make it, cut it in half, freeze half the loaf, and just have out the part that you want to use. Shout outs to Hensie Malone, my Ohio grandmother who started out in Georgia. She was born there. She's the one who had the Creek background. And she was a master baker, canner, preserver, and all I know I have from her.
I love that. I love that.
Ooh,
So
I wasn't trying to say you ain't teach me, Mom. I'm saying that's
I think we can spread the love around. We can spread the love around. It's all good. There's multiple teachers in the pot. So
but you know, she even taught my mom. My mom was a pie maker. You know, down here it'd be sweet potato pie, right?
Yes.
Sweet potato pie, and she didn't know about baking bread. She thought light bread was something you got from the stove. And you know, my grandmother taught her how to bake rolls and yeast bread and stuff like that, and baking cakes because she wasn't a cake baker. She was, you know, she made pie, and
everybody
she was
has to think.
but you know that wasn't what she did. And my grandmother gave her many recipes.
I love that. Yeah, we weren't. My grandma was not a baking. She would try to bake, but she was not a baking woman. She was a great cook, but she wasn't a baker. So other people picked up those skills. Like my cousin, she's a master baker. That's her thing. Everybody has their piece, but learning these things makes such a difference for life right now. So I love it. I love it. So to all of our people, and until next time, Miss Tracy, having you in space, but to our people out here, if you love it, like, subscribe, do all the things, because we're here for you. We love you. You're important and you matter, and be safe. Until next time, you guys, take care and nothing but blessings. Thank you.